What's going on, everybody? Tim from Tirfon Orbital. Welcome to the program. Today's guest will be a Lōp hilt from Jawas Junkyard. I don't know, I'm trying to switch it up in the beginning. It's just the same thing over and over again. I feel like it gets repetitive. So anyhow, maybe one of these days I'll do a video on something that's not a walkthrough. Some people have requested I go over my collection back here, or maybe talk about like what my favorite hilts are and my least favorite hilts. So I don't know, maybe someday I'll switch up the content. So anyhow, so this is going to be a walkthrough demo on an install commission that I completed late last week. This is for, again, it's a hilt, Lōp's hilt, a character from an episode of Star Wars Visions. I have installed it with a custom removable chassis, so I would like to talk about the chassis a little bit in detail. It is the same, relatively the same chassis that I've done in previous installs of the Lōp. I just switched up some of the greebly work on this one and made some minor tweaks to it. But other than that, it's the same chassis, same like removable system. So yeah. We'll go over all of that in detail. So, like I said, this is a hilt that is themed or based on Lōp's character from Visions. Listen, I am not typically a fan of hilts like this. Like, full disclosure. Like with the Tsuba and all of that. It's just not my thing. It's not my bag, as we say here in Philadelphia. But with that being said, I really think that this hilt is absolutely beautiful. So the first one that I did was the special edition from Jawas Junkyard. It was the polished chrome version of the hilt, and that one was beautiful. This is the standard satin, what I call satin version of the hilt, and I think this one looks better than that one. It's just a very beautiful hilt. The top of the Tsuba was done, the blue coloring was done by Austin from Astoria Workshop. It was sent to him prior to coming to me, and then Austin sent it to me. So he did a great job on the hilt. It's just a very beautiful hilt, in my opinion. So yeah, let's talk about the chassis first. We'll come into Fusion, and then we'll do a quick demo, right? So here's the chassis. Like I said, this is the same version that I did in previous Lōp installs. I just added some greebly work on the side here with some tubes. The front of the chassis, this was loosely based on a droid from the episode. I mean, it's just my rendition of it with some greebly embossing on the chassis. So yeah, pretty straightforward, removable chassis. We have a 24 millimeter speaker down here. This is from Smuggler's Outpost. Battery tray is here. Around the back, this is where the Proffie board sits. With this version of the chassis, I did add a shelf to slide the Proffie board up underneath that lip, just to help it stay secured. Plenty of room to get at your SD card, and USB with a 90-degree connector if need be, right? Up top, we've got a 6-rail PCB. I got that from Stardust Sabers. And that's it. Nice, quick, easy rundown on the chassis. So let's come up top and talk about this hilt. So here it is. This is the Lōp from Jawas Junkyard. Again, like I just feel like this is a very beautiful hilt. I like the color scheme. I like that the grip is like it's the whole hilt has got this matte satin finish on it. It's just a very beautiful hilt, in my opinion, right? So this is not a threaded pommel. This is a set screw pommel. To get at your chassis, there are 3 set screws around the circumference of that pommel. You want to unscrew those set screws. I believe I only have 2 in right now for the demo. So yeah, there's 3, but I've only screwed in 2. You want to remove those set screws. And then the pommel will come out. There is an insert in the pommel. Okay, I designed this and printed it off in resin. This helps to push the chassis up into those upper PCB pins. right? So that stays in the pommel. Try not to lose that. That just kind of stays and lives in there. To get at your chassis, it just kind of slides out. I already have a battery in this. There also is a kill switch down in this chamber. You'll need to use like a toothpick or something pointy to get at it, or if you've got long fingernails, you can get at it easily. But it's down in this channel, right? So you can just turn it off with a kill switch if you need to. To put the battery in the chassis, spring side is your negative. Take the flat part of your battery, put it in the tray. You'll hear an audible cue. If you don't, just hit that kill switch. So let's talk about the hilt really quick too. So the upper, this is actually a little loose. Let's tighten this up. The grip attaches to the upper part of the hilt with, it's not threaded. It's attached with set screws as well. So to the client, there are two of these greeblies here. These are both threaded. The upper one, this is actually securing the switch and upper PCB chassis in place. So try not to unscrew this one. Everything is spaced perfectly right now, so you don't really want to unscrew that. Otherwise, when you put your chassis in, it's not going to make a complete connection to those upper pins. And this lower one's just free. You can unscrew that one if you want to, but it looks great the way it is, right? Switch, got two tactiles underneath that, and a PCB emitter. And that's it, right? So to put your chassis in, put your battery in, make sure it's on. You just slide the chassis all the way in the hilt. In the pommel, this blue fin has a notch in it. There's also a notch in the hilt. Line those up. Slide the pommel all of the way in. Line your holes up. And then tighten those set screws. Again, I've only got two of them for the video, but there are three around the circumference of that pommel. And that's it.
I'm never touching that thing again.
Let's come down. So the client, you also asked me to knock down the edge of this brass section on the grip. It was a little sharp, so I had to disassemble the entire grip just so I could knock back that a little bit with some high grit carbon sandpaper. But other than that, twist to activate, twist to deactivate are all enabled. Okay, we've got a bunch of different fonts on here. So, why don't we put a blade in it? So with this particular hilt, Devin Clark at the Saber Trade did a run on these blades. I don't know that he's still doing them or still offers them. I'm not sure. So I don't have one of those blades. I've got a short 7/8 inch demo blade that I'll throw in here just for the demo, but I don't have the blade that Devin offers, and it does have a specialized mount that goes into this emitter. You know, something, while I'm on the emitter, something I did notice about the Jawas Lōp. There's no set screw to hold the blade in. I mean, it doesn't come with a set screw from the factory. Little confusing to me. That was not offered. The problem with this emitter is the way that it's machined on this upper lip. There's no space for a set screw to grab the blade, right? It's very, very thin. So you've got to put your set screw underneath that lip. And this is a very shallow emitter to begin with, right? So not quite sure why that was done, but hey, you know, we can add set screws, no problem. I can thread holes, no problem. Just something that I noticed, right? So let me put a blade in it. So I've got a shorty blade from Bendu Armory. I like to use this for some of my demos.
Lord Vader.
But this is a 7/8 inch blade holder, so that'll work just fine. So I've got my blade in. Tighten that set screw. So because this is such a shallow emitter, you really want to make sure that your blade is not only all of the way in, but you do need to crank it down, right? And then you're ready to go. So the top button is your aux, bottom is your activation.
Lōp.
There's Lōp's font. That is from Kyberphonic. Fantastic font. All of his stuff is great. What else do we have?
Disgraceful.
So, at the request of the client, there are Visions-related fonts on
I
this.
must be cautious wherever I go.
And then I also put some of the free fonts that Grayscale offers, and then of course the free font package that Proffie offers as well. So lots of fonts on the SD card. The config is also backed up on the SD card if need be. And that's it, right? Again, like, this is just not the style of hilt that I like. I mean, that's just my personal preference. However, I just really appreciate, I like the color scheme of this hilt. It's just a fancy looking hilt. Very classy. So, that's all I got. To the client, thank you very much for trusting me with your install. To the viewers, everyone, thank you very much for your support. I say it all the time. You know, for the most part, everybody in this community has been really, really rad. And I really appreciate the support. So thanks for watching. May the force be with you. Have a good day, everybody. Later.